This video provides a brief overview of how to create and edit rules in the Operations console. A rule is generally used to collect information to present in the console or in reports. A rule can also be used to generate alerts when a monitor is not appropriate. Rules do not set or record the state of an object like monitors and are more appropriate for monitoring objects where system state cannot be determined. During this demonstration, I will create two rules and see the results in the monitoring space. The first rule I will create is a performance collection rule. This rule is specific to IIS Server running on Windows Server 2003, so I only want to run where IIS is installed. I have already imported the IIS Server management packs and I am monitoring all the IIS servers in my environment. First of all, I will select the authoring space in the console. Now I will select the rules view under management pack objects. Currently I am not scoped to any target and I see the rules for all targets. If I want to see all rules currently running against the IIS 2003 server role, I can use the scoping feature of the authoring space. Let's do that now. I use the scope button on the toolbar, find and select the target I am interested in. Now I limit the number of rules displayed in the view. I can see there are actually no rules currently running against this target type. I click the Create a Rule link in the Actions pane. Now I choose a Windows Performance Collection rule. I will create this in the default management pack. I give the rule a name and description, and then I set the rule target. I choose the IIS 2003 web server role. Now I use the Browse button to browse to the performance counter I want. I have IIS installed on this computer, so I browse my local counters. I could connect to a remote computer to select the counter if I needed to. I am going to pick the private bytes counter for the W3WP process. I now set the interval, and since this is a demo, I will set it to a very short interval. The next screen allows me to optimize the counter. If I choose to do this, a new performance point will only be collected when the value deviates by a set amount. Using this option reduces the amount of performance data in the operational database and the data warehouse. I am not going to set this option for this demonstration. I click Create and I now have successfully created a new rule, and I can see this in my rules view. While that rule is deployed to my agents and starts collecting, I will create a different type of rule. This time I will create a rule that generates an alert in response to an event in the Windows event log. So I create a new rule. I choose the NT event log alert generating rule. I give the rule a name and description, and this time I choose the Windows Server target since I want this to run on all my monitored Windows servers but not on my Windows clients. I select the application log as my log to monitor, and then I enter my criteria. I'm going to look for an event with ID of 222 from event source event create. Now I'm going to specify my alert conditions and build a description for my alert. Notice how I can use a combination of target and data properties in my alert description. These will be substituted for the actual values of the computer name and the event level when the alert is generated. I click Create to finish the wizard. So let's look at the results of my collection rule first. This data will be created against the IIS server role. Let's use the Discovered Inventory view to find all of my IIS role objects. I change the target type and select the IIS role object. Now I can select one of these objects and pivot to a performance view to see all the performance data collected for this specific object and other objects it contains. There is my new counter, and you can see it has just started to be collected. I could create a specific view for this counter if required. Now let's check on the alert generating rule. I'm going to generate an event on one of the servers that I am monitoring using the event create utility that ships with Windows. I create an event 222. Now let's look at the alerts view. There is my alert. Let's look at the description in the details pane. The server name and the event level have been substituted into the description. I just realized I did not specify any alert suppression settings when I created my rule. Let me have a look what these are set to. I can view the rule properties using the link directly from the alert details. Now I move to the Configuration tab and select Edit on the alert response. I select Alert Suppression and I can see I have no suppression set up. Let's create another event and see what happens with these settings. I create the event and go back to the alert view. I see I have a second alert. I really only want to get one alert for this problem if it is the same computer. I bring up the rule properties and edit the alert suppression settings. I set the event ID as the field to suppress on and save the rule. Let me close the alerts which are already there. Now, once the changes have been sent to the agents, I will create the event again twice. Now, I see one alert. I can look at the alert properties. And you can see the repeat count has been incremented to 1, indicating a duplicate alert was suppressed. That concludes this short session on creating and editing rules.